And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford. Coming right back at you from Lakers Fast Break. Oh my God. Like choking up over what the Lakers did in free agency. Nothing. Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. We just dropped a new episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. Go ahead and check it out today, right there for you, wherever you get your podcast, because it is a state of pro wrestling where we talk Forbidden Door, we talk WWE, we even talk about our thoughts on who killed WCW after the Vice series just aired all 4 episodes. So go ahead and check that out today, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, as well, Intel Wilder, not doing much right now, but we'll see. Also, as well, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Joe Soro's here. He has got the logo of the Mamba, indeed. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today. It's Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Plus, also, as well, of course, he is part of a great company that he owns as Simblades, SimbladesWithY.com. Our good friends, Jamie Sweet, hopefully he'll join us today. He's got a brand new article I will try to get to on today's show. His brand new 5 Things article on Lakerholics.com. Plus, also, as well, of course, him and Tom are there. Go ahead and check out everything that's going on at Lakerholics.com. John Costa's Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Stone Hansen, he's still tweeting at report_cord. Follow him there. Alfred Esmond and the Legend 350. Orlando Magic Daily and the Legend 350 on YouTube. Please support those great guys. Hopefully I can get them back on real soon. Plus also as well, of course, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights, yo. And also as well, of course, the John McCallion channel. Support all these great channels. And of course, do what you can do with us today by liking and subscribing. We're now over 1,700 subscribers strong as we bring you the free agency special, day 2, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But make sure you like and subscribe to follow all of our great episodes. Well, it is NBA free agency. Day 2 started off really early in the morning because just after we went off the air, Paul George committed to a 4-year, $212 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers, changing the dynamic of the Eastern Conference. There was a lot of moving and shaking, and here today to discuss that and why the Lakers weren't part of that moving and shaking, including Klay Thompson signing with the Mavs, Boston Celtics getting a lot more expensive, and their owners probably making the smartest financial move that they can make by bailing out and asking to sell the team. Good man indeed. It is, of course, right here with me, the guy behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. We get called out all the time from this person, that person. They send us email at LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com like they did earlier today saying, man, what a great signing today as far as yesterday, of course, with Max Christie. Well, Max Christie, due to the failure of Rob Pelinka to get a named free agent so far, Max Christie is our signings for this period. Your thoughts so far on what the Lakers have done for absolutely nothing so far in free agency?
Yeah, there's the flavor of the moment now is DeMar DeRozan.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to get DeMar DeRozan is if he decides that he feels that he want to take a pay cut at $5.5 million to take the MLE with the Lakers, which I don't.
Because there's a very real possibility LeBron will actually just say, you know what, I'm going to just take the full 160.
There isn't just I'm going to take the 162. He is taking the 162. There's no reason for him to take a pay cut, especially something of that magnitude. Now, we discussed this earlier today when we were going back and forth on the
Lakers
emails.
ball?
The emails.
Oh, emails, yes. On LakersFastBreak at yahoo.com.
So let's look at the LeBron situation. He has to take $22 million less in order for the Lakers to qualify to give the full MLE instead of the half MLE. That's what I'm calling it. It's less, actually more than half. So what is it, 12.8? Right?
Thereabouts.
We were talking about unwritten rules in the NBA. I would say that LeBron taking a $22 million pay cut would be a massive alarm by the Players Association, his agent, and just in general, his constituents. If LeBron takes a $22 million pay cut, it would ruffle the feathers in terms of the market. That's why I never really believed that that was possible. It's not possible for him to take. If he'd taken a $10 million pay cut, maybe. 22 is too much. It's just too much. And there isn't anything out there that's going to justify him taking a $22 million pay cut anyways. It just doesn't matter. The only way they're going to be able to get DeRozan is they're going to have to trade for him. And I think the only way they're going to be able to get DeRozan in a trade is if there is somehow a package with Zach LaVine being involved.
I mean, like a sign and trade, because
correct.
There needs unrestricted right now, and like we saw earlier today with Klay Thompson signing for 3 years, $50 million with the Dallas Mavericks. I guess out of courtesy, whatever you want to say, even though not a lot of courtesy there. The Golden State Warriors have a very frigid relationship right now with Klay Thompson. They did do a minor sign and trade for a couple of second round draft picks involved in that.
The Lakers have to find partners in this where they are just as desperate as they are. There's only 2 teams that I see that are desperate to unload talent. The only problem is that talent is either injury prone or making too much money or just making too much money. The 2 teams that we've discussed is Chicago and Portland. Jeremy Grant's name has been going around the wire. And the talk is maybe Portland wants to unload that contract. And when teams want to unload contracts of that size, they know that they have to give up capital, draft capital with it. The Lakers do need draft capital. They do need a pick next year. So there's a lot of high risk deals that the Lakers would have to make to enhance their position. The only problem is we're not going to know if it enhances their winning position the beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of next year. But the Lakers are at a point now, Gerald, where there is no choice. They're either going to run it back with the same team essentially, or they're going to have to make a high risk acquisition, and in that maybe get some draft capital out of it because they're removing a large salary from whichever team they deal with, then hope that player materializes as a important piece to the championship run. It's a very, very muddled situation. I didn't really look at Klay Thompson as a big fish. He's had too many catastrophic injuries to make a difference on this team. The word was there was a deal of D'Angelo Russell and I believe some fillers for Klay that Golden State refused. And I thought that was one of those situations where Golden State did the Lakers a favor. And by them doing the Lakers a favor only just continues to enhance the fact that this organization and this management is so clueless on how to manage this basketball team that I don't see a light at the end of this in any way. They're just not good at their job. And Rich Paul and LeBron James and the Clutch crew, they cannot run a basketball operation because they're selfish to their own cause. This is why there's so much angst towards the organization, because this should be common sense. But because they're so afraid to not appease these guys, it's comical that they would even be in that mindset. But they are.
Yeah.
And the only people that kind of suffer at this point are the people that are watching and wasting their energy and their time on a team right now that is inadequate.
I'll just say this, Joe. In order to also get Klay Thompson on their roster, they had to go ahead and made the trade for THJ last week, but they also made a trade, 3-team trade in that as far as the swapping out. They also traded away Josh Green, who went to Charlotte, and as far as away and off the Dallas roster. I ask you, I know that THJ and Josh Green are not the most favored players. I know they are, they've brought a lot of angst to a lot of these teams as far as these fans for the Mavs are concerned. My concern is for these Mavs fans, which is not a whole lot, but again, Frank is a good man, and we always love it when he's here. How much better is Klay Thompson over the combination of THJ and Josh Green? It's like you always talk about, you hurt your depth in order to take a chance on a player who's in his mid-30s and may not be able to give you what he once gave you. I didn't say he would. I didn't say wouldn't, but he may not be able to.
Unfortunately, I don't think Klay Thompson. I don't think Klay can play anymore to his capabilities. It's impossible in basketball to have that kind of mileage.
At least the contract's not terrible.
No, it's not. And it's worth a risk if you're Dallas. If Dallas wins or doesn't win, it's not as big as it is in LA, especially with what LA had to deal with this year and also what resulted in terms of the champion this year. The issue got worse because your rival added a banner when you should have added a banner by now. You should have added the 18 first. You had all the momentum after 2020. You had a super prime player on the team, and LeBron James still playing very, very well, and a team that was equipped to be together for 5 to 6 years. But the Lakers ended up panicking and napalming their own team. And it's an ongoing redundant discussion, but we're not able to get away from that because they continue to do that. They just signed, and we got a lot of heat for this. I got a lot of comments today on this, which I was surprised. I guess the 2 years of watching Max Christie play wasn't enough for these people. They're blaming Darvin Ham because he didn't get enough quote unquote minutes. Well, folks, Max Christie got an $8 million a year contract for doing nothing. I thought THT did a better job of earning his contract before he flamed out. And we all saw what happened there. A lot of times these players get their money and they end up relaxing. Think about it for a second. You just gave a guy $8 million per year for doing nothing. What do you think his motivation is going to be to get better? Is he the type of guy that's going to go shoot 500 shots now? Could be. I've never heard that Max is a lazy player. He could. But we, and I say we as in our Laker fast break crew, especially ones that have watched a lot of basketball, even beyond what we've watched, Gerald and I watched, we haven't seen anything. And I don't see how it would change all of a sudden because you just offered this guy $8 million a year, and all of a sudden now you have JJ Redick as a coach. I don't see how how that's going to change this guy's talent. Well, I don't know if he's going to get better.
Excuse that they're always trying to give you in all the emails and all the
It's
messages.
hope. It's a hope thing. I get it.
It's all on Ham. It's all Ham's fault. Ham's fault. Ham's fault. Ham didn't do this. Ham didn't do that. He didn't develop. He was tremendous in the summer league, Joe. He didn't bring whatever he got and did in the summer league to those opportunities that were given to him in the next step. And now you're committing $32 million over the course of 4 years, which is not a terrible contract, Joe. And it can be easily traded, I think, in the confines of the NBA. But that's with a GM who's actually knows what they're doing. And still, to this day, several years in, Joe, I'm not sure we actually, as the comments, the super chats that have been on there by Daniel Barry and Intel Wild, I'm not sure we know that he knows what he's doing.
This is a business where contracts do come in with some value, though. Unfortunately, we can't use that value until after January 15th. So I did look at Max Christie's contract as a possibility leverage move down the road. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. From that perspective, that's fine. But then again, if he's not good enough, that particular contract's not going to be too coveted. I keep going back to the same thing every time. Well, let's try to back ourselves up here a little bit with some things. Keep THT, keep Max Christie, but is that going to really enhance your team? No. It's not going to enhance your team. It might have been a good it might have been a good signing for depth in case somebody in your rotation that's important needs to get covered. That's real. That's something real. But the issue with Max Christie is he is now getting paid as a rotational player that's going to be needed. And if he doesn't perform like he hasn't in the last 2 seasons, well, it's going to look like a bad deal again. This last year, he had the opportunity, and we watched him play, and he had difficulty making shots on a consistent basis, whether it was aggressive or whether it was open. He isn't particularly good on defense. He isn't particularly good in switching in pick and rolls on defense. He isn't very strong.
He needs to get a lot stronger. I agree with you there.
And if you get stronger, if you're lifting weights, that means you're going to have to start really – it's kind of like when you get stronger and you need to shoot better, it's kind of like a bodybuilder who needs to get leaner but not lose muscle. It's very difficult. And those are the little things that we have seen from Max Christie it's not – there aren't good signs that that's going to happen.
So I ask you this, my friend, when it comes right down to it. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Please, if you can, big crowd again. Cannot thank you enough for your watching. Also, as well, please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. There are still names out there, Joe, in free agency. Of course, the Lakers, in order to bring someone in, they'll have to send someone out. Or 2 or 3, but right now they're at 15 players, so they're going to have to make some adjustments. But if they want to bring people in, there are still players that are out there, like DeRozan. His name has been attached since we couldn't get, or the Lakers could not get, of course, Klay Thompson. Arthur Johnson on the Super Chat, and thank you for the Super Chat to both you, Intel, and also Daniel Barry Sports Highlights for your Super Chats. He's asking if we can revisit Lonnie Walker. He didn't get a fair stint under Ham. He was a great spark. He was at times. I was worried about his health because in both Brooklyn and with the Lakers, he did get hurt for a substantial amount of times. But when he was in there for both teams, he provided some offense and good shooting. Your thoughts on Lonnie Walker possibly being a guy that we could bring back on a cheap contract? Or what are your thoughts as far as what additions we still can make, if possible?
The additions that they have to get are difference makers. Getting Lonnie Walker isn't a difference maker. He is a...
Thank you, Dre, for subscribing.
He's a player that complements in certain parts of the season. It's not going to make a difference. The Lakers need a power move. They need someone that they can rely on as a third. And I would like to hope that maybe Austin Reeves gets a little bit better. Maybe D'Angelo Russell performs a little bit better so that LeBron and AD don't have to shoulder the load every minute of every game. Remember, guys, LeBron and AD are going to be playing in the Olympics this summer. So we're adding even more stress to two guys that we're going to have to rely on all year, one whom is going to be 40 years old, and the other who's been playing in the NBA for what will be his 13th season.
I agree with you, Bloodhound. Mid-30s. He is a good scorer off the bench, or could be, or if you put him in a spot starter position, but he doesn't help your spacing at all, Joe.
No, it's just not enough. He's not that player.
He won't move the needle far enough.
Not enough, no. He would be a good 8 to 9 player rotation guy that would be a huge benefit during those dog days in December, January, and February. But this team still needs a big player, and the big players are all gone.
Yep.
And that is not good right now. Right now, the fact that they were discussing a deal with Golden State for Klay when they should have been discussing a deal with New Orleans or the Valanciunas crew. I know it wasn't going to happen because LeBron is not taking a $22 million pay cut for Jonas Valanciunas. We all know that. But I would have focused on trying to get a deal for a player like that because that's what they need. He's not earth-shattering great, but you do need – he is a legit starting center in this league who can hold his own. He isn't the greatest thing, but that is the kind of guy you need. That is the kind of guy you needed at 10 mil per. And then if you have to make a deal for a impact player, you do have some salary out there on your roster. Then you can see what high risk trades you have to make at this point.
I do want to mention in all comic relief, Darren said he doesn't want you to leave. Again, Joe never said he was leaving the Lakers fast break. I don't know where you guys get this from. You guys don't hear correctly.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Well, hold on, Joe. You are the anger to Gerald's Southern hospitality, talking trash to Living the Bash. You must stay. Southern California hospitality, because that's where I'm from, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have no idea how much I'm usually never touched by things, but unless of course it's my kids. But I gotta admit, what I said was I said that I couldn't, out of principle, support this team the way I've been supporting them with my time, as in watching the games. Leaving the show, I never really said don't leave the show. I'm leaving the show, I should say. But how was I going to do a show if I wasn't watching the games? So they're kind of half right there, G. They're kind of half right and seeing it that way.
But you never specifically said it.
No. But here's the problem. Is a good problem, I should say, is I have gotten so many messages off the show where people are asking me not to go. And I got to say, man, I was pretty surprised. I was pretty surprised by it. And besides leaving Gerald in the lurch, I thought it was very important. And because that's probably the big part of this too. I didn't want to leave Gerald either in this. That's number one. But it was almost like the cherry on the top, I guess, at this point. My boys out in Australia, boys out in the Philippines, of course, people here in the States. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tough it out. And I'm only doing this because you asked me, and I can't go back. I cannot go back and say, well, you got to, feel the room and understand what's going on and then kind of like ignore it. Well, I didn't expect this. I wasn't reading the room when I said that. Maybe I should have. But the response was, Joe, you cannot go. It was almost like people were saying, no, you can't go. It wasn't even asking. So I said, okay, all right, I got to think about this. Well, folks, I want to let you know now that I'm not going anywhere. And I really was going somewhere, folks. I really was. I was not going to watch these games. But it's just too much. It's too much that y'all hit me up, and here we are. I'm here to tell you thank you for the kind words, and my reciprocation in that is I'm going to stick around.
So with that said, once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching this thing. And getting into today's action, which the Lakers were not a part of, unless you say they got denied having Klay Thompson come to their team. And you already spoke about Max Christie being the only real signing that we've done under this period. Wanted to ask your thoughts about the Boston Celtics. Went into a little bit in the beginning. They made news in successive fashion, seemingly bing, bing, bing. Derek White, you were right and I'll give you credit for that. You still thought he would get a contract in the 30s. I thought he would ask and get more, but he ended up getting a 4-year, around 129 million deal, basically in the 30s. And then also as well, of course, they signed to an extension Jason Tatum to a 7-year, $300 million plus deal himself. And then soon after that was the report that the Celtics are putting up their team for sale, which convenient timing upon all convenient timing. Your thoughts on that? I think it's a financially smart move by the owners to be bailing out, with the attraction that there's still the TV contract yet to come. I think it's a smart move. I'm just telling you. I know it's the Celtics, and we hate the Celtics here, but you got to admit, Joe, that those owners are kind of bailing out at the right time because they don't want to pay those taxes.
The NBA in general is starting to get a little out of control here. Paying guys $60 and $70 million a year is. I'm trying to figure out where the TV contracts are going to justify this, and are these teams going to really understand the implications of these signings in the next couple of years when things really start to settle in? You're going to pay 2 supermax contracts. And then you have 3 other guys making 30 plus. There's probably going to be 5 Celtics and what would it be? 10 minimum, veteran minimums? Because they're not going to pay. But even then, are they really going to do that? I mean, you're talking about there's going to be teams that are going to be paying $100 million in tax. I don't know how the hell that's going to work. How do you justify that?
Daniel, though, the TV deal is going to hit, but they're not going to repeat what happened in the year that Golden State got Kevin Durant. It was 2016, I believe. Yeah, they're going to gradually rate it up like about 7 to 10% each year. But yeah, it will rise. But I'm thinking that's a smart move by those owners because they're bailing out now or trying to bail out now to avoid paying those taxes, but still making it attractive enough because of the new TV deal in sight. And also, if the league expands, they'll get those expansion fees as well.
It doesn't matter. That's a one-time thing, and then.
Well, we're talking about $200 to $300 million.
I'm just surprised. I'm surprised that
maybe even $500 million.
I'm surprised that this regime, or I should say regime, this ownership clan agreed to this. And the players, of course, are going to say yes. They don't care. They want to get the super maxes. They want to get all the money. But you are the Adam Silver and the NBA are taking away the two things that were above anyone, even the NFL, and that's the changing of stars. That was the most popular activity in the NBA, is the changing and the maneuvering of stars. And the other is dynasties. And you just killed both of them. The best ratings in the last 10 years were the redundancy of the Cleveland Golden State finals appearances. And you instead now want Denver and Dallas. You want equality in who goes to the finals and who's competitive. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. But the Lakers still have options that are out there, my friend. Again, they have to make some maneuvers because they are hard capped, and they also have to go ahead and make sure they get people off their team because they are at 15. But what if a Miles Bridges, or like you said, DeRozan, or someone, or even, as Arthur was pointed out too, Lonnie Walker, really want to come to the Lakers? Would you find a way to make that happen? Miles Bridges, I think, is the most controversial name as far as that's been mentioned as far as the Lakers are concerned, but he is a 20-point scorer with, yes, he's coming off those legal issues that if you really know the NBA, you know what went on there. I know that Stone Hansen was not at all liking that possibility, but your thoughts on if the Lakers may look to try and improve that way for a spot in free agency?
By the way, Intel, I didn't say F the Dodgers. I said F Dave Roberts.
Yes, let us be very clear on that. It is Dave Roberts, not
Dave
the
Roberts. I love watching the Dodgers play, and I actually love the way they've managed the team. I mean, you got Shohei Ohtani, you got Yamamoto, you've got Freddie Freeman, you've got Mookie Betts.
I still think Hernandez is the best pick.
Hernandez has been the wild card acquisition of the year for us. Folks, you guys got to pay attention to what we say. You guys keep changing stuff up. Come on. Killing me over here. But guys, I had been dead set on what I was going to say. I was convinced otherwise by you guys. It wasn't because I want to, but what can I say? What can I say? I'm as cold-hearted as I might sound on here. I do compromise. I am a reasonable person, and I also want to make people happy, people that deserve it, and that's what this is. I didn't expect this. I really didn't. So, thank Mark. Thank Xbox. Xbox played a huge factor in it. Sports Baby. Those two are my boys. Those are my guys. Those are my Aussie crew. And this is where we're at. Jay, I wouldn't say this is a new Joe. I'm still me. It's just sometimes you gotta adjust, and that's just what this is. But the contracts in the NBA wants to have more parity in their league, which is just dumb. It really is. The NBA should never be a equal opportunity employer type situation. No one cares about the Denver Nuggets. There are people in Denver that don't care about the Nuggets. And if you want popularity, you got to stick with the high price, high end teams. The Knicks are starting to play well. Philadelphia just upgraded. The Celtics are winning. The Lakers are a disaster, or they're great. Either or is going to bring in the eyes for the Lakers. So they're the only foolproof attraction in the NBA, whether they stink or whether they're great. So I just enjoyed the movement. I enjoyed the unknown. I enjoyed the demands, and I enjoyed the dynasties. But we're not going. It seems like they're trying to get away from that, which is, I think, a terrible idea.
Intel put in their super chat. Did the NBA go woke?
I don't think this has anything to do with woke. They did go woke in 2020, and we had to endure that stuff. Right now, Adam Silver is trying to appease all the owners. He's trying to appease all the owners. He's trying to appease.
Well, that's who he answers to, Joe.
But how many times are we going to watch the New Orleans Pelicans get a first overall pick and blow it? How many times are we going to see Charlotte, whom you've been there twice already in its existence? How many times does Charlotte have to stink before you realize that that market cannot support or cannot operate a basketball team? At what point is that going to open up? Is it wishful thinking? Is it hope? I don't know. It's just, I'd say let things ride the way they ride. I don't see how there's a benefit in parity in the NBA, especially when you have a team that can only play 5 people at a time.
So with that, I know that they were the source of great comedy for us yesterday, but today, in past 24, 48 hours, the Clippers, after losing Paul George late last night to the Philadelphia 76ers, have made some moves. Nothing earth-shattering, mind you, but they did get as far as Mo Bamba, which is not going to have anybody going ahead as far as getting anybody out there really in an uproar. But they did make some moves. Obviously, the $35 million a year they paid James Harden was a little bit of a reach for me. But Chris Dunn, I think is anytime you can sign a solid Chris Dunn, who's played very well, coming back into the league. Other players that they signed as well. Nick Batum, who's actually his wife last year, tweeted out that this would be his last year, this past year, and that he would retire after the Olympics. Changed his mind, Joe, and took a 2-year deal with the Clippers as well. So interesting moves by the Clippers. I don't think it moves the needle, and I think the loss of Paul George ultimately will hurt them as well.
They should have listened to Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers told Ballmer, are you sure you want to trade Shai Gilgeous because he's a few years away? But Ballmer wanted to make a splash, and the only way he could get Kawhi to commit to the Clippers is by bringing him Paul George, which at this point might have set his team back a decade. Because imagine having Shai Gilgeous Alexander right now as a Clipper. You have a guy that's going to be there for 10 to 15, 12 years at the very least. That was a catastrophic risk when you didn't have to. But and we've said this how many times? I don't think I need to keep repeating it, but the Clippers are always going to clip, folks. They are who they are. It doesn't matter if there's a billionaire running it or a racist. They're the Clippers. I think if they move to San Diego, they might be able to get out of that rut. But San Diego can't seem to hold on to anything over there other than beaches and beautiful women, which is, nice things to hold on to. But they just can't support big franchises out there other than the Padres. But yes, Intel, you're my boy, man. Come on. You're my boy. Yes, you are.
You're having to go ahead and play. You're my boy. You're my
yeah.
boy.
You're part of the crew.
You're my boy.
You're part of the crew too, Intel. Come on, you should know that. The Clippers right now are they're basically patching the Titanic. They're patching the Titanic as best they can, but that sucker's gonna sink eventually here because Kawhi doesn't have any. He just doesn't have anything left. No, Darth, you're not my boy because I already know who you are. The hilarious, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine, this whole Clipper thing too. If Kawhi had just put his mind and body together a little bit more, he would have won a couple championships at least with this team. All that extra work that he had to do because it was just him and Paul, he wouldn't have had to have done that with AD and LeBron. They had KCP. They would have brought in Kawhi. I mean, could you imagine that team? They had Kuzma already. I mean, that team would have been a juggernaut for 3-4 years. And he wouldn't have had to have killed himself in an LA uniform. He would probably won 2 or 3 championships with this team. So you look back on that, man, talk about a missed opportunity, because the Lakers did everything they could to. That was their last great chase. That deal could have put Rob Pelinka in a different category, right?
Yes.
But man, if Kawhi had just seen it a little bit more down the road, he would have been better off, and everybody would have been better off. We would have been better off. But what are you going to do?
What are you going to do indeed? But we're here. Of course, it is the Lakers Fast Break. J-Bay is in the chat. He's asking about, and I'm not saying it's actually, it's a good comment. And I spoke about this. Stone Hansen has spoken about this, our draft expert. Both of us talked about just blowing it up and rebuilding once again. But we can't even do that, Joe. We're in between a rock and a hard place because we don't even have our draft choice. The draft choice is going, the first round draft choice for next year in a loaded draft is going to Atlanta. So we can't even tank, even if we wanted to, Joe. That's the problem. We're a 7th place team in the Western Conference. We didn't make any major moves outside of Dalton Connect. And now they're asked. The team is asked. LeBron and AD, who played well above the minimum requirements last year, in fact, 77 games in the case of AD, to do the same thing over again and do it better. That's a tall order, my friend. That's a really tall order. Didn't say it was impossible, but it's a really tall order, Joe.
If the Lakers want to have a pick next year, they're going to have to take a large contract that a team needs to unload, and they need to ask for a 25 pick. It's probably going to be protected, though.
Yeah.
But any pick in the 25 draft at this point with where the Lakers are going is going to have to be a risk they're going to have to take. The Lakers really only have 2 options at this point: is they run it back, or they understand that they can go and get a large contract on a suspect, quote unquote, third guy who might have an injury issue or making too much money. But that'll be the only way they can fleece a pick instead of them giving a pick out. They don't have the leverage there entirely, but the leverage is that the other team would need to get rid of that contract, and that would be an incentive to do that. The Lakers, however, would have to probably give up D'Angelo Russell. So let's use the Zach LaVine and the Jeremy Grant examples. Regardless of what those situations are, should they pick one or the other, it's very likely that D'Angelo Russell has to be in that deal because of money purposes. Now, you have a bigger problem after that, is if you don't get a point guard in return in a package with those teams, then you have no point guard. And unfortunately, Gabe Vincent is not a point guard, at least not a starting one. And he can't shoot, by the way. So the Lakers, it's like they can solve a problem possibly, even if it's a big risk, but then they have to likely get rid of something that they need. It's just one issue materializing when you solve another issue. It's just a very difficult position that they're in right now. It's very difficult.
So with that, again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us here. And again, last night they're saying you guys are being too realistic. It's being too negative, whatnot. I don't want to be too negative. I don't want to be too, but when we're realistic, when we try to tell you the truth on what is apparent there. It looks like Rob hasn't been doing a whole lot this offseason, Joe. So the pressure, or should the pressure be more on Rob Pelinka at this point? Because ESPN really today, Kendrick Perkins really went to town on Rob Pelinka. First time I've heard in a while, because every now and then people start to go off in the media on Rob Pelinka. But today was the first day when they lost Klay Thompson, like he was a vital piece for the Lakers to go forward or something. Again, I personally don't think he would have been, but if you do, I understand that. But your thoughts, Rob Pelinka is not getting a lot of fanfare right now. I think that's well-deserved because I really have not been impressed in any of the years that he's done. His job, I think, was saved at one trade deadline, and that's about it for me. Your thoughts on Rob Pelinka, and is the seat getting a little bit warm?
No. He did a terrible job in 2022, and he got an extension.
Yep.
This team loves to give extensions to mediocrity. I don't know what the deal is. It's funny. We've had people talking about woke in the chat here today. It's funny you guys say that because we are in an era where mediocrity is celebrated. And if you're too successful, you're considered a pariah. And the moment you criticize someone for their inadequacies, it's, oh, you're jealous. Oh, you don't like him. Oh, he's good with his family, and he's a good person with his folks. You want a medal for being good to your family? Really? You're supposed to be good to your family. Why do I need to hear about how, well, he's a good family man? You're supposed to be a good family man. You're not supposed to be given an award for it. And by the way, that's none of my business. So if I come up to a celebrity's family dinner and I sit there and I'm like, hey, how you doing? Can I sit here? Hi, what are you ordering? What do you think the reaction would be? Hey, what are you doing here? Get the hell out of here, right? Why can't I do that? Or am I going to sit there and go, what? Are you jealous that I'm sitting at your table? What? You can't talk to your fans? Folks, I'm reversing that now. I'm the fan. And I'm telling you that I don't want to know these people, except between the hoops. And right now, between the hoops, they are stinking. So I want you guys, for those LeBron fans out there and all the feel-good stories that you guys want to hear, well, folks, we're not given a lot of good things to talk about in terms of the basketball side of things. And we're going to have to continue to say that as they continue to stink in that department. That's just what it is. We're reporters, we're analysts, we're sports people, whatever the title is. And the last few days since free agency has started, what exactly have the Lakers done to give us any indication that they know what they're doing?
Not a whole lot right now.
No. And until they give us a reason, we're going to assume that they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And we're going to tell you that. You have, didn't LeBron and his petulance unfollow Mr. Perkins?
Yep.
And that's your guy, folks. That's your guy. He unfollows you when he doesn't hear something that he doesn't want to hear. That's your guy.
And we're not trying to hate on him at all. Again, one of the greatest players of all time, got us to the title run now. But we're seeing, Joe, as you always talk about, we're seeing, LeBron deciding so much for the Lakers organization. Again, we went into bed with LeBron as an organization, and unfortunately, it works good and bad. But this is what you're going to get, right?
I didn't know it was going to get this bad. We're the LA Lakers. I never in a million years would have thought that they would have submitted to a player. I just didn't think that it would be this bad, especially after they won. It's just not the censorship in what's going on here is troubling. I don't know why. I don't understand why. I don't think LeBron's paying these guys to do what he says. The ones that are his sycophants, the ones that when he moved to LA, he had certain reporters like Allie Clifton fly from Ohio to LA. And all she does is just compliment everything from up. There's never anything negative that comes out of her mouth about LeBron. And I don't trust people who aren't going to, that are going to be homers and things like this, because you're never going to accomplish anything. Yes, men don't help you, folks. Yes, men or women. How are you going to know you're screwing up if everyone's always saying, yeah, you're right, yeah, you're right, yeah, you're right, all the time? I'm not with that. And then it's, oh, well, you're Skip Bayless. First of all, the difference between someone like me and Skip Bayless is Skip Bayless is a guy that is making money being that guy. He probably doesn't even believe that. He just does it because he knows he hits the nerves, because he knows that he is the purple light, and he knows the moths, most of the people out there that are LeBron lovers, are going to go to that light. I'm not a fluorescent light. I wear black 95% of the time. I work by myself. I'm usually by myself. I'm usually alone. And I don't have any kind of agenda. I am telling you right now, if LeBron wasn't doing this stuff and he was handling his business, you would think I was a LeBron fanatic, because I love results. I love excellence. I love smart decisions. It just sucks that I came into this show in 2021. I wish I had gotten here in 2019, because you guys would have seen what I was doing in 2019 and in 2020. I was slaying people left and right and telling them how badass this team was, because they were. They were a joy to watch all year in between COVID, during the playoffs. The only little hitch was that 10-game run at the end when they came back.
That first period in the bubble.
Yeah. But other than that, they were playing basketball like we knew they could play. And what was great about that year was you never heard a peep. You never heard a peep out of it was eerie how crazy that was. Like, hey, I was talking to my buddies who were huge Laker fans. I'm like, hey, you're not hearing anything out of practice. You're not hearing, there's no gripes. There's no anything coming out of this team. This team is locked in. And they were winning the games they were supposed to, and they were losing the close games to good teams the first 3 months, almost 3.5 months of the season. I remember there was an issue with them beating good teams, but they were close. And I remember telling people, wait, just wait. This is the first time this team's played together. Just wait, watch. Right around February, March, they're going to start beating the shit out of everybody. Watch. And then they ended up beating Milwaukee, the Celtics. They were just killing everybody. Denver, they were killing everyone towards the end. And then COVID hit, and then it kind of put a wrench in it. And I remember thinking to myself, man, they were just getting into stride. I hope this doesn't jack up the season. And it ended up not doing that. And they ended up playing really well in the playoffs and closing out Miami. And the only reason why that series went 6 is because Miami played out of their mind. I think had they played anybody but the Lakers that year, they would have won the title.
So with that said, my friend, once again, it is Joe Sora along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. Appreciate you joining us. Please like and subscribe. Go ahead and get the latest notifications so when we go live on the air. We're on over 300 days a year here at the Lakers Fast Break, talking the Lakers and the NBA. Intel Wild says Rob Pelinka needs to do that hawk-taw on that thing. Know what I'm saying? So thank you for the super chat. Intel is very happy that you're here, Joe. I'm very happy that the chat is happy that you're here. But the Lakers were not happy about what they're doing or lack thereof. What choices really do they have left heading into day 3 of NBA free agency?
Their choices are they're going to have to trade for talent, and they're going to have to give up likely D'Angelo Russell in the deal, which could cause a major issue because they're likely that the two names, or I should say, let's say the three names that have been circling that would be a possibility would be Jeremy Grant, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. Jeremy Grant and Zach LaVine, because those teams want to unload that contract, and DeMar DeRozan because he's already made it clear that since Josh Giddey is now a Bull, that they're going to the youth movement and he wants to go somewhere else. But DeMar DeRozan is not going to take a $5.5 million a year contract. He's probably going to want at the very least the higher MLE, which is 12.8, 12.9.
Sadiq Bates was just mentioned in the chat as well as maybe being a guy that you can get on a minimum.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that I'm not in the mode right now to talk about minimum contracts. Minimum contracts are usually done at the end when you're trying to fill out the roster. However, the problem with that is the Lakers have how many guards right now? 8. They're overloaded with guards.
I don't think Sadiq Bey will get an MLE, maybe a mini MLE, but yeah.
You have 2 roster spots right now, folks. 2 roster spots that are going to go to Max Christie and Bronny James. 2 roster spots.
Shooting went off, man. His shooting went off like a cliff. He went from 40% 2 years ago to 31 last season, man. And then you do that just before you go out as a free agent. Not
Daniel, Daniel. The Bucks don't have to trade Portis or Lopez. So therefore, the Lakers would have to give up draft capital and players to get those players.
Well, I mentioned to him. We talked about it earlier in the chat. I said something to the effect of Rui Hashimura, and I didn't know if I mentioned Reeves or someone else. Maybe a package deal, but and then, like you said, throwing a pick in there somewhere as far as that's concerned. Of course, that seems to be the case as well. But yeah, I was just he liked it, and that's what he was just sounding off on. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, the Lakers cannot acquire a player unless the team needs to get rid of that player. Mm-hmm. Because if
they're hard cap,
it's just not going to work because of capital, draft capital. The Lakers can't give up draft capital at this point. They need to get draft picks in that deal to help the future. That's what they said, right? They want to develop more people. If they want to develop more people, then they're going to need to start getting picks in the first round on a consistent basis that they're going to be able to draft and develop. I don't know how they're going to develop these players though, because their development you don't know. They're going to develop the guy and he's going to be good, then all of a sudden they're going to let him go. Like I don't know what the process of that is.
Alan says, Gerald, you all really think a new rookie coach and a new team is beating these teams that's been together for years? You know, Alan, when I said it yesterday, I get yelled at. Yeah, we say it on Sunday, I get yelled at. I say it for weeks, I get yelled at. We're standing pat on the team that went 7th in the Western Conference. That usually doesn't elicit a general swing upwards unless you had some major injuries to your top players. And Joe, that wasn't the case. They had 3 40% shooters. They had 2 players, their best 2 players, play a predominant amount of games. On the surface, it's going to be hard for the Lakers to improve on that with what they have unless Dalton Connect gets a real opportunity and shines like a rookie like no other in this draft.
We saw all the check marks this year, and it didn't matter. We saw the check marks. We saw more than 3 40-point 3-point shooters. And these are regulars. This isn't somebody who's playing 10, 12 minutes a game. We're talking about regular starters. We had AD have his most healthy season. LeBron played 71 games. He missed 11 games due to maintenance. It wasn't even because of an injury. Sort of his leg maybe or his foot, but he really didn't miss time because of an injury. He missed time because of maintenance. You had all those boxes checked. The problem is you had a numbskull for a head coach who didn't value regular season wins in a conference that's imperative to get home court and to get higher seeds. And not only didn't he value it, he criticized those who did. Those are bad things that go on. And the Lakers organization, the fact that they allowed those things, I would have fired him that day when he said that. When he said that Laker fans value each game too much. And I don't want to drop F-bombs right now because every time I think about that, I seriously want to. I don't even know what I would have done if I was part of the Laker brass. I would have probably called him right away, got him in the office. What the hell are you talking about? Who the hell talks like this? And what ended up happening at the end of the year was because of him. Because he did not value those games, the Lakers put themselves in a horrible position. And they ended up winning one playoff game. One. And in the last 2 seasons, I should say the last 4 seasons, they've only won 2 playoff series. 2. They've won 2 playoff series in 4 seasons. And now you have a rookie coach who's never coached in the NBA, not even as an assistant. You have an agency that's running the organization. You are 3 days in the free agency period, and you have failed miserably in every direction you've tried to go.
All I say is if Jeremy Grant is a Laker, Rob better be asking for a ton of number 1 picks along with it. Because if you, as Alan says, if you stick us with that contract, that is an absolutely dumb move for a guy. I don't even think on a good team, Joe, that he can be your number 3 guy. I think he's like a number 5 guy on a good team. And you've already paid him and committed to him through, I think, the year 2028, about what, in the $25 to $35 million range per year. So if you're going to trade us Jeremy Grant, you better be willing to get, attach a lot of stuff along with it, Joe.
I'll tell you what. If they have to get
and take a lot of stuff back we don't want.
If they have to get Jeremy Grant, here's my compromise. My compromise is they got to take Rui. They got to take
Vando and Gabe.
They got to take Christian Wood. They essentially the bottom feeders. Jared Vanderbilt, Rui. Jared Vanderbilt, Rui. And then they got and then whatever fillers, maybe Cam Reddish or Christian Wood, whatever. And then give us a couple of first-round picks or get us a first-round pick in next year's draft, at least top 3 protected or top 5. Something like that. Because as bad as that contract is, Jeremy Grant would be the 3rd best player in that group, and you'd still have D'Angelo there. And you still have Austin Reeves there. You do better you are bettering. You are enhancing your team's performance at that point. You have a better player there. It's not the ideal trade, but beggars can't be choosers at this point. But you cannot lose D'Angelo Russell unless you can return a legitimate point guard who can shoot. That's something that no one is talking about. Everyone's just like, yeah, just put D'Angelo in every trade. Just put this. Even in that trade for Klay Thompson, if that was true, if they had traded D'Angelo Russell for Klay Thompson, who's going to be the point guard on the team? LeBron? What happens when he sits? Gabe Vincent? What if he's injured? Now what? Max Christie? Did you ever see Max Christie initiate the offense last year?
That was bad.
Yeah, it was horrid.
He can't. He has no handle, Joe.
No, he has no handle. He can't get past the guy in front of him. If there's anyone with elite defensive prowess, he's toast. And if they double team him, goodbye. The NBA is as unforgiving as any sports league on the planet when you don't have the athleticism. And if you don't have the athleticism, you have to be a step ahead, maybe 2 steps ahead in your fundamentals and your ability to initiate an offense or to dictate tempo. Now what? You're going to tell me that Max Christie is going to all of a sudden develop tempo? He's going to all of a sudden initiate an offense? Is he going to shoot open shots and make them on a regular basis? Because that's what I thought he would be. So there's a lot of questions, folks, without any answers right now. It's a lot of questions.
I agree with you. A lot of questions indeed. But again, everybody out there, truly appreciate you joining us. It is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. Got a lot of new faces, well over 100 for tonight in our chat. Please go ahead and like and then subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. So, Joe, today, a lot of it was started right after we went off the air. Paul George committed to a 4-year, $200 million plus contract with Philadelphia. Philadelphia is still trying to fill out the edges like the Lakers are and like other teams are. But your thoughts on how much Philadelphia improved by getting Paul George?
They improved greatly. If Joel Embiid stays healthy, they have a legitimate chance of beating Boston to the finals. They have a good coach. They have a bona fide MVP. Paul George is a very good player. And you have a young, up-and-coming, very good player who's already a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
They absolutely improved. And then they got Drummond as a backup center and filled in the roster really well. Nick Nurse being on that team puts it all together in my book. I have a lot of faith in Nick Nurse. I believe he is a top 3 coach in the NBA. So you just gave Nick Nurse exactly what he needed. And I believe that if they stay healthy, I believe the Sixers have a very good chance of representing the East next year in the finals.
Okay. I mean, there's still other teams in the Eastern Conference that also improved as well. I really liked what Orlando did in getting KCP. They still need more offensive firepower on that team, but that's at least was a good start. Bring some championship pedigree. I know Indiana is still looking to go ahead and bring in some people to maybe fill around the edges as well for a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And, of course, we know what New York did. New York, though, my friend, we didn't talk about this too much because Isaiah Hartenstein moved from New York to Oklahoma City. Your thoughts on that, my friend? Oklahoma City, I think, has gotten better this offseason, even despite all the moves that they had to make and all the talent that they have to choose on which ones they want to keep or which ones they want to let go. Getting Hartenstein really bolsters that front line for the Thunder.
Yes. Absolutely. You can call it. You can call Sam Prestige at this point instead of Presti. I was imagining in my head how that. I'm not saying this is what happened, but I was imagining maybe he was talking to Danny Ainge in Utah for marketing. Larry Markkinen, and Danny thinking, hey, I can fleece these guys for 4 or 5 first-round picks. And then he's like, you know what? I'll take a little bit lesser talent center, little bit lesser talented center, and just go sign them outright and keep my picks. And that's exactly what Presti did. I thought it was a brilliant move. It's going to help them tremendously. And if Shai Gilgeous and, of course, Chet Holmgren can add to their chemistry with everyone else, the Oklahoma City Thunder very well could be coming up here very, very soon. I'm not going to say they're going to be a finals team, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up being a finals team next year.
They could take that next step.
I'll tell you why. I am noticing now the East is finally starting to change in the East. Indiana, Philly, New York, Boston, you're starting to now see the shift. And then, of course, if Cleveland decides to keep Mitchell, which I believe they will, I always believe he'd stay in Cleveland. Never really believed all the hoopla about him being traded. I just never did. I believe that the East has finally turned a corner, and they're going to start looking like the more dominant conference here in the next 2 to 3 years.
Just Beats Up says, no free agents and no Dan Hurley, fire Pelinka. I mean, that seems to be the common theme so far. A lot of Lakers fans are angry out there. Rob Pelinka, really not getting the job done in a lot of people's eyes right now. When you heard the rumors, and I'll reiterate, I may have touched on it at the beginning of the show with the Klay Thompson deal. Again, you and I are not really broken up over Klay Thompson. I think it's a decent deal. It's not going to kill you if you're Dallas at 3 years, $50 million. But the rumor has it that the Lakers offered a 4-year, $80 million deal and got turned down. Your thoughts on how all this went down to Klay Thompson? I think we're going to be okay or I don't think it moves the needle enough. If we had gotten Klay Thompson, it would have been nice to have another shooter around. That's always nice, but your thoughts on the Klay Thompson deal and how that all shake down and how it reflects really poorly on Rob Pelinka right now.
Well, it's I want to thank the Golden State Warriors for saving the Lakers. Paying Klay for 4 years at 20 reminds me of a Luol Deng type contract.
Yeah, it would not have been good.
Absolutely disastrous. Klay Thompson is washed, folks. He can't play anymore the way he's capable of playing, and he's not a $20 million a year player. The MLE at 11, 12, yes, sure, on a team that maybe needs a really good six-man. Klay Thompson can win six-man of the year on a championship team for the next 5 years if he wanted to, but his ego is getting in the way. He wants to be a main contributor. He's not. He's not because he physically can't do it anymore. There's been too much damage to his leg. So the Lakers got saved by another team. They couldn't even save themselves. It took the Golden State Warriors saying no to get them out of this rut. What could have been a rut, I should say. And the fact that LeBron was in charge of this fiasco only goes to show you how absolutely inept he is at this job. If he didn't have the athleticism that he has, he's a basketball player to me. I don't need LeBron James to run my basketball team. He needs to run the court and run the offense, not the operations.
Dan, if he gets right around what THJ was doing, but doing it more consistently, I think that's what will make a lot of Mavs fans happy. Again, I personally would have, if you would have told me that you're going to get rid of Josh Green and THJ as far as just having those guys there that are party rotation, and you're bringing in a Klay Thompson at 35 or 34, whatever you want to say, coming off those injuries, coming off that bad game he had at the end of the play-in with Sacramento there. I don't know. I'm not sure I would have taken the plunge on it, but okay, they did. It's not a huge deal. It's not something that I guess Dallas can probably get out of it, but it just shows that Dallas is willing to make the moves. They're trying to show Luka that they're taking that next step. LeBron is actively trying to get himself involved in this, Joe, and even that's not helping the Lakers' cause right now.
No, no, it's not. I don't know if these things are true, though. Do we really know it's true?
So you don't think, or have some maybe questioning in regards to the fact whether or not he called or contacted or was willing to make a sacrifice?
Why is
on a salary?
But it's not realistic to me. He was never going to take a $22 million pay cut. It was a trade. The trade sounds more realistic. I don't believe he would have ever taken it. He won't. He's not really allowed to take a $22 million pay cut. The league would crap their pants. Agencies, I told you, agencies, the players union, they wouldn't allow it. This was a trade that they were trying to work out. It was never about signing him for the mid-level exception.
Well, Alan's asking, do you want the Lakers to make a move, even just to make a move, even though the end result remains the same? No, because that just, as far as financially, it's not really good. But you always try to make moves to improve your team. And when you're in purgatory, as the Lakers are, finishing 7th in the Western Conference, they're in that gaggle of teams, that group of teams that seemingly don't have a direction one way or the other, Joe. That's what I want the Lakers to get out of. I want the Lakers to have a firm direction and to be truly competitive in the Western Conference. And did I want them to make a move or two or three to go ahead and solidify that possibility? Yes, absolutely. Because Dalton Connect, unless he really shines out, is not going to be the difference maker, because that's so much pressure to put on a rookie kid. You need more. You talked about yourself. You need more depth. You need more players coming in if you want to get better, because what you had didn't get the job done last season.
No, the team is terribly constructed. You have Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and LeBron James. Then your bench are Gabe Vincent, Vanderbilt, Max Christie, and then Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, Maxwell Lewis, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and then now you're going to add Bronny James. You're going to add no talent to a team that needs talent. It's not to say that they need to make a deal is the understatement of the offseason, but there is no deal to really be made at this point without the Lakers taking on a giant contract for a maybe player that would work. That's as best as they got. There aren't any four-way trades that's going to change the team's look by any means. There isn't going to be a team out there that's going to take our garbage for nothing.
So there we stand.
The Lakers are more.
But again, we get criticized often for being a certain way when we just try to tell it as it is.
Well, yeah, the criticism doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we get criticized for what we're saying, because what we're saying is what's going on. If you want to be upset about that, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. The Lakers have won 2 playoff series in 4 seasons. You have all NBA players as your 1 and 2 guys. One is arguably the best two-way player in the league. So, what do you want us to say? This isn't Rob Sacre. This isn't the Kellys and the Smush Parkers running the show. The Lakers have 2 bona fide starters that are all-stars. Yet they are 7th and play-in teams. They're 7th seeds and play-in teams every year the last 3 years, 3 out of the 4 years. They missed the playoffs in 2022. How do you miss the playoffs with Anthony Davis in his prime? How bad of a coach, how bad of a system, how bad of a team are you? So you want to sit there and say what you want to say. It doesn't matter. You got to keep saying it, and at some point I'm just going to ignore it because you're not listening. And that's what I'm doing. We had someone email us earlier today about how I'm supposed to be convinced that Max Christie is a good player. Get the hell out of here.
But according to him, you only know one side of the ball.
Just shut up. Seriously, folks. You don't think I want Max Christie to be a good player? He's not. He is not. That's not my assessment. It's what it is. So just you can keep doing what you're doing and live in that head of yours, but it's not realistic. And this is not going to end. You can polish this turd as much as you want. It's still a turd. So what do you do with turds? You flush them down, and that's likely the only way this thing gets solved. You discard it. The two biggest turds in this organization are the owner and the general manager. Because I can sit here and blame LeBron James, but they're letting him. Of course he's going to do it. Oh, yeah, LeBron, go ahead. Call Klay and convince him to do our job. You do our job for us. While we give the company lines and all that political correct BS. So we got to call these guys out, folks. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. The problem is we don't have a big enough bullhorn yet. We're trying to get there.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell from LakersBall.com. Also, as well, of course, what we're seeing, what he does at Simblades, the company that he owns, Simblades with a Y.com. If you need a new lawn transformed into something much better than it is today, check out Simblades. Simblades, if you live in the Southern California area, Y.com. All right. My friend, let's spend a little bit more, a few minutes just talking about what's going on with free agency. I know, again, DeRozan, Miles Bridges, Lonnie Walker Jr. The choices are getting, like the Lakers coaching search, the choices are getting few and far between. We haven't addressed any real need as far as on the front line. I mean, we haven't added really a good amount of shooting unless you're talking about Dalton Connect. And you're hoping that he really blossoms out as a 4-year player, which I'm hoping that he does. I'm hoping that he'll give the opportunity to. I'm hoping that the JJ Redick, who's drawing plays up for him already when he got drafted, will be drawing plays up for him on an NBA court real soon. But that's a lot of if, and that's a lot of hope. And one thing I know you don't like to do, Joe, is hope.
The Lakers, once they sign LeBron, Bronny, and Connect, are going to have 16 players. So they have to get rid of, 2 of them?
Yeah, because they have 15 right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want Colin Castleton to play on the team, then they'll have to get rid of him.
And that's the other thing is, if you want Colin to play, I don't know if he's going to be improved enough to play this year. We're going to find out a little bit more there. But the Lakers have to – they're not going to be able to hold all these guys. So now what? That tells me that there has to be some kind of a trade done so they can get rid of some roster spots. That's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on that. And I'm curious to see how that will work out.
And we'll see what happens. Again, if you're able to get a DeRozan on a flyer or a Miles Bridges or even a
Miles
Lonnie
Bridges.
Walker,
There's a better chance of me playing for the Lakers than Miles Bridges.
probably because of his legal issues. I know that Stone Hansen does not want that to happen, but I'm just telling you because he is a player out there in the market. He did score 21 points a game for Charlotte last year, so that's probably why he hasn't been able to go ahead and get a spot already on another team, is because of his legal troubles that are out there. But I will say this again, DeMar DeRozan, again, coming off the bench or maybe as a spot starter, getting you 20 points a game or close to it, that's nice, but he doesn't stretch the floor. And as a mid-30s player, his defense isn't going to get any fresher. That would make us an even older team, Joe, and I'm not sure you want to go down that road. In fact, Rob Pelinka said he does not want to go back down the road of continuously getting older players.
I wouldn't necessarily say DeRozan doesn't have value.
No, I didn't say that. And like I said, he can fill it up. It's just
if you can get him,
there are certain things.
If you can get him as a 6-man type, absolutely he becomes a huge value for the Lakers.
If you have him stay in that slot, yeah.
Yes, and then he would periodically cover some starters here and there, which is
him, Rui, and Austin Reeves wouldn't be a bad 6, 7, 8 guys coming off your bench.
Correct. The question is, can we get 3, 4, and 5 guys? And this is another.
I would look at starting Dalton. That would mean that Dalton could, has developed to the point where he's able to play.
The other problem is if you go into the next season with Wood and Hayes backing up Anthony Davis, you are in trouble. You are in big trouble again. And I'm not going to feel comfortable hoping that Anthony Davis plays 76 games again at that point.
That's what you're going to have to hope for. And that LeBron plays close to 70 once again, too.
There's a lot of factors in this. There's a lot of variables in it. And the only thing that could help those things, and again, don't forget, folks, they are going to play in the Olympics, which means they're already going to be worn out a little bit when they come into the season. They're going to be worn out, which means they might have to scale it back a little bit. And on top of that, you have a new coach who's going to have a new system that people are going to have to get acclimated to, which means they're probably going to start slow. And in the West, when you start slow, you end up being a play-in team, at least in the Laker history. So it's just too much. It's too much to deal with. This is too much. And Rob Pelinka, Clutch, and Jeannie Buss are not equipped, capable, or smart enough to conduct business the correct way to make this a better situation. They don't know what they're doing, and they're not capable of doing what needs to be done.
So again, it's just a possibility on DeMar DeRozan. But explain to people why he would probably be, as a spot starter coming off the bench, more value than if you really relied upon him to be the number 3 guy in LA at this point of his career.
Yeah, I don't think you would need to make him a number 3. I'd say he probably could share number 3 with D'Angelo and Austin. He could be, they can pick times during the year where they're the 3rd guy. What's nice about DeRozan is he's a professional who still has something in the tank, who can score, who is someone that who's battle tested, and someone that isn't Taurean Prince, isn't Jackson Hayes, isn't Maxwell Lewis, isn't Max Christie. He's gonna play basketball well, and he's inconsistent. I'll take a 2-point mid-range shot over a missed shot. There's plenty of 3-point shooters on our team now. Plenty. You don't really need to go, we need to go get another shooter from 3. We have 3 guys that shot over 40% last year, and Austin Reeves was just below that. And Austin Reeves was one of those guys that when he is open is very consistent in making that shot. So this is get what you can, but you're not going to be able to get DeRozan unless you get him in a trade, and it's very, very likely that you're going to have to get him in a package for Zach LaVine, is my guess.
Again,
because they're not going to be able to get him without giving up draft capital.
You're going to have to give me draft capital to take on.
Which is why they need to. They would have to. It would have to be packaged with LaVine. If they want to trade for, and this is really the only way they could probably get. They're going to be able to get him. They want to trade for DeRozan. Bulls will want draft capital and fillers, but mainly the draft capital. And the Lakers don't have draft capital. So they would have to make that deal to get those guys whom they would help. If Zach stays healthy, DeRozan would help. And they would be able to get a first-round pick probably in that so that Chicago can get rid of Zach's contract since they're already losing DeRozan. And then everybody wins in that deal. But they're going to have to likely give up D'Angelo, Rui, and I would like to hope that 2 or 3 of the bottom feeders as well.
By the way, Sam Presti, as an assistant general manager, BTS has won 3 NBA World Championships. Thank you, Osmosis Jones. You gave me the heads up on that. So yeah, technically he has won or been a part of 3 World Championships. So he has 3 rings right now. So now he goes on to the next one. How many chips has Daryl Morey won? We do have a Rob Defender in the chat. It's nice to see there is one Rob Defender, but when you're talking about what is Rob compared to a Daryl Morey or a Sam Presti or, whoever you want to fill in there, Danny Ainge, whatever decision makers you want to say right now, I would answer back to you, whose future looks better, the Lakers or the other team involved? New York, OKC, Boston, let's go with Minnesota, just Denver. Whose future, all these future for all these other teams look better than Lakers? That's probably why a lot of people have so much frustration right now for Rob Pelinka.
Well, the frustration is he's not good at his job. I don't know what Presti's. I don't even know why this is even discussed. Like, you have to watch what's going on here. He doesn't know what he's doing. Masai is not good either, Pale Fox. That guy was given Kawhi Leonard because Popovich wanted to send him as far away from the West as he could, and he did. Toronto was the furthest way. They won a championship because Durant destroyed his leg and Klay hurt his leg. Otherwise, they would have got smoked by the Warriors. And then now he's the second coming, or was at the time. Masai is not that good of a GM. Totally overrated. Presti is legit. Presti came from the school of San Antonio. Matter of fact, I think San Antonio would have been better to keep him and let him run things in San Antonio, because I'm not liking what's going on in San Antonio right now with Pop and Buford and those guys right now. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, soon Victor Wembanyama may not like what they're doing either. I don't know if the Chris Paul 1 year, $11 million deal, if that really moves the needle for them, but they do have their point guard, I guess, for at least next season to help develop Victor Wembanyama. But we'll see in regards to the Spurs. I mean, there's still more moves to be made, and of course we'll cover it right here on the Lakers Fast Break. But my friend, it's been a great chat. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
Well, it's do or die here in the next few days. And it might be dead anyways, but we'll see if they have enough testicular fortitude to just go after something big and see if it might be something that they can ride. That's the only exciting part about that possibility is, can they?
Mm-hmm.
Because anything else beyond that is we have to endure the fact that there's going to be a roster spot going to a player that doesn't belong in the NBA, and then there's going to be another roster spot that they just signed to a guy that has no business making the money he's making. Oh, and there's probably 3 or 4 guys on this team that need to go.
BTS, again, we appreciate your faith in the Lakers. We appreciate your faith in Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss, and we appreciate your faith and confidence. You are the only one in our entire chat tonight that has said anything positive on Rob Pelinka, because I think we all believe that Rob Pelinka has
I don't believe you. Yeah, I don't believe BTS. Sorry, I don't believe that he believes.
Okay. You don't believe he's being serious when you say
no.
Okay. All right. Again, I just don't have faith in Rob. I haven't had faith for years in Rob. I have seen a myriad of failures under Rob Pelinka and poor decision making and poor personnel evaluations by Rob Pelinka, and again, his negotiating tactics. Even as a former agent, Joe, he's been not able to get many of these deals sewn up together. So I don't know. I mean, I think the DeJounte Murray trade, which I think could have been very feasible to give something comparable to or even better by the Lakers, could have been something there as well. Just misses after misses continuously. Don't have a lot of people having faith right now in Rob Pelinka.
Yeah, it's we'll see how we'll see what happens. It's going to be a while before we really see the fruits bear on this. I don't know. I'm not feeling too good about it though. It's just not. We have to wait. We have to see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe JJ Redick is the next Pat Riley, and he puts down a scheme that's just so terrifying that people can't deal with it. I don't know.
Well, we'll certainly find out. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, a.k.a. Ox1947. You can find him every day at LakersBall.com. Great chat place to go during the course of the day in regards to the Los Angeles Lakers. Also, as well, if you want to support him personally, he's got a great company that he has that you can go ahead and transform your lawn today. If you live in the Southern California area, you can get a new lawn today at Simblades with the Y.com. Jeannie Buss, everyone likes. BTS says everyone likes Jeannie Buss. I think that was at one time, BTS. I don't think that goes for everyone now. What do you think, Joe? As a person, absolutely. As a talent evaluator, as an owner, as someone who's running the operation, getting the best people to go ahead and get the job done, I don't know. It speaks for itself.
I was indifferent. I don't really know these people. I thought her brother was a chode. Both of them. Her, maybe she was a little bit more classy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. They're just meh. I don't have any feelings about it, really. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't take someone seriously that treated Jerry West the way they did.
That hurts. That hurts a lot. I saw a YouTube video that outlined, Jerry West's entire Lakers career and some of the comments he made in one of his last major interviews with Sam Amick, where he regrets at least a little bit and says, maybe I shouldn't have been a Laker because of the way he was treated in those final years by the organization. Because he certainly feels a lot like Klay Thompson feels right now, unappreciated.
Yeah, but disrespected. It's different, dude. You guys, Klay Thompson not feeling appreciated is so ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm just saying they feel
the players and the owners put this system in. You are part of that system. Why are you now angry that they're not appreciating you when you can't play? You can't play, Klay. I'm sorry. Now, Jerry West is a completely different beast. You don't have to worry about CBAs and salary caps with him. This guy saved you twice with Kobe Bryant, the guy that you love, the guy that you were obsessed with. He was a Clipper. He told Elgin Baylor he was coming to the Clippers. Jerry West came out of nowhere and said, "You are not playing for that owner." And Kobe changed his mind. And it pissed off Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor was pissed. Elgin was like, he said he was coming. I'm going to believe Elgin Baylor. There's no reason for Elgin Baylor to lie about something like that. But Jerry West went in there and said, you cannot play for that owner. Absolutely not. Saved your ass twice with Kobe Bryant. And some say saved your ass 3 times. I don't know he was involved with that Memphis thing. I don't have any indication that he was involved. Wouldn't be surprised, but I don't. It might be just for folklore at that point, because Jerry's Jerry and he's magic when it comes to that stuff. But point is, everything you have is because of Jerry West and your dad. And yes, Pat Riley played a huge factor in it. Yes, Magic Johnson played a huge factor in it. But Magic Johnson retired in 1991. Pat Riley retired from the Lakers in 1990. Who was still there after that? And who had the greatest offseason in the history of the NBA, in my opinion, as a general manager? Who acquired Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and Derek Fisher all in 1 month. Come on. I don't like anything about them. Nothing. I like nothing about them. I don't like LeBron James. I don't like Rich Paul. I don't like Maverick Carter. All those guys are creeps to me. I don't like them. And they're proven right now why I don't like them. They're just not, they're the epitome of selfish, self-absorbed, me. And we know that we all know people that are like that, but it's at the expense of our time now and our enjoyment. And I think it's messed up.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, what's not messed up is what we're doing here at the Lakers Fast Break. Again, I appreciate everyone out there. A big audience tonight. We had as many as over 150 in the chat. It was truly great to have you here, being part of what we do here on a daily basis here at the Lakers Fast Break. Remember, later on this week, the California Classic starts, so we'll get a chance to get a closer look at Dalton Connect and the rest of the Summer League players, including one LeBron James Jr., a.k.a. Bronny James. So that adventure begins, and already people are trying to scout out seats for the Lakers Summer League here at Las Vegas, the Thomas and Mack. So yes, we're already seeing that go a little bit higher than normal. Not quite Victor Wembanyama buzz, but yeah, it's still going strong right now with Bronny James heading over to Las Vegas here next week as well. So, Joe, great to have you here. Does Castleton have a 3-point shot? He said in interviews about 3-4 weeks ago, he said he was trying to work on a 3-point shot and that he would be showcasing it during Summer League. You can take that for what it's worth. I think he needs to get stronger because in those very few times he did play meaningful minutes in the NBA last season, he did get owned on the defensive end. I know he brought some good things offensively in Summer League and exhibition play, and I'd like to see that be able to translate going forward. But again, he's a two-way player. He has to play really well for the Lakers to decide that they want to go ahead and give him a chance in more games next season. Again, the Lakers do need more up front, and they have yet to go ahead and really capitalize on that so far. Yeah. Eric, yeah, he is on a two-way, I believe, at this point in time. So we'll see what happens. Joe, any coins of wisdom. Let me ask you this before you give your coins of wisdom. Are you going to be back in the command center tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see how things play out.
Okay.
I actually kind of like this better.
I personally don't, but
fine. I'll be back with the face either way.
Thank you. Because it's just, I mean, Laker Nick does it, and I take it for what it is, and always great to have him here. But personality shines through more. Your rants shine through more.
I think they sound better when you can't see my face because it gives it a sense of mystery, especially for newer viewers. But I get it. I get it. I'll be back. I'll be back showing the mug tomorrow, regardless of where I'm at.
Much appreciated. Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. 7 Grand says, "Don't like LeBron James." I please quantify that and put that in context before we head it on, because that's going to get you a lot of discussion on our chat board.
I don't like LeBron James. No, I don't like LeBron James's constant having to control every aspect of everybody's things. I don't like his passive aggressiveness. I don't like his flopping. I don't like the fact that every time he gets hit in the head, it looks like somebody just shot him with a 12 gauge. There's a lot of things. Oh, and most importantly, I don't like when he doesn't get a call and leaves his teammates in the lurch. These are all little things that piled up this year more and more and helped the results of what eventually became a 5-game loss.
And you could be committing to a guy, again, approaching the year 40, no matter how great he is, no matter if you even think he's the greatest of all time, he is going to be 40 and could be signing a 3-year, $162 million contract that would take him to year 42, where he will most likely not be as good as he is now, much less to what anywhere near as what he once was at 25 or 30.
I don't like that he strong-armed a couple of dinkuses, a couple of weaklings in Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka into drafting his son, who will never amount to anything in the NBA. If you're all in this fantasy world that you think this guy's going to be an NBA player, you are in for a rude awakening.
Well, the odds say it won't, Joe, because I'll just throw that out there. Not saying hate on Bronny or whatever. 9 out of the last 10 picks at 55 have failed to make a real impact in the league. Only Aaron Wiggins, who just got signed to a new contract, is the only player to really get a second contract in the league.
And this is with a roster right now. Once Connect signs, LeBron signs, and obviously Bronny James signs, you're going to have 16 players on the roster. So that means you have to get rid of players. And those players they have contracts. So now what? Who's going to get traded now? That's why I believe there's going to be a trade that the Lakers are going to make here. I just don't know for what yet. It's not going to be for Trae Young. Trae Young, I think, is going to stay in Atlanta. Because I don't think anybody's going to give 8 first-round picks for Trae Young. And at that point, what's the point? What's the point for Atlanta in trading Trae Young? I don't see a point. I don't see anybody giving him. Clippers was one of his spots, I believe. The Lakers were one of his spots. What was the other one, G? Allegedly.
Allegedly, as far as what?
Wasn't it Philly too?
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't he have a spot? Didn't he have a request according to where he would want to go if he was traded? All those teams are either they've already set their rosters. They've already signed the ones that they wanted, or
Orlando can't make this.
Yeah, Orlando can't. Yeah.
Unless he wants to go to Detroit, I don't think there's many options left.
And I don't think he wants to go to Detroit. You might as well stay in Atlanta at that point.
Oh, there you have it.
It's not good, folks. And the culprit is an inept front office, for those of you who are here for the first time, and a meddling LeBron James.
Again, one of the greatest players of all time. You can't take anything away from him on the court. I think with a lot like you and a lot of the people out there that are frustrated with him, it's the off the court stuff, the decisions, the power, the control, the messaging that he makes that you don't particularly care for. Is that correct?
I loathe passive aggressive types. Loathe. I enjoy bringing out the passiveness when I do go head to head with those guys, because you see a whole different personality when you can draw it out. Because once you're looking at them in their face, they don't look at you. They don't look at you in the eye, anyways. They almost are in shock when you tell them that they suck because of that kind of personality. And that's passive aggressiveness is just not my cup of tea. And LeBron James is a poster boy for that. He's not particularly a good leader. The whole team concept BS has always been a little overblown. He did do a couple things this year that I did like. I think once after that Cam Reddish pass, I don't remember him not being the aggressor towards the end of the game. So there was positiveness there for the first time that I can remember. But he's got 4 MVPs, $7,000, not 5. Yeah, I don't care about how many titles he has. I care about what's happened in the last 4 years.
What have you done for me lately? Right.
I care about now. I don't care about what he did yesterday. We don't play that game in this house. We talk about now. And right now, LeBron James should be focused on winning championships, not running daddy daycare with Eddie Murphy on a Lakers basketball court. And then on top of that, talking to washed up players about coming to the team. This is why you hire a general manager and player personnel to do that job.
Well, $7,000, he is one of the best players in NBA history. Nobody will ever take that away from him. But don't say we don't like the NBA if you don't like him. It's the things with Joe, it's the things that he's doing off the court that he doesn't like. You've got to put it's two different players, $7,000. So I just want to make sure that's clarified. It's two different things that Joe is talking about. He's not talking about the player specifically on the court. He's talking about what LeBron has done off of it. It doesn't bother me as much, although I do get fatigued from time to time with the hourglass and some of the other stuff that he does, the wearing the New York Knicks stuff while he's interviewing when he went to MSG earlier this year. That stuff gets boring and it gets old after a little while, but no one can take away just how great a player he truly is.
No one, because there's things at stake, press passes, being part of the it crowd, the people who kiss the ass of these players all do it because they feel that they can get something out of him or these players in general. And that's not just NBA or sports, it's in life in general. So, and most people are afraid of direct confrontation. And there's a lot of guys out there like to fight like a bunch of morons. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about looking someone in the eye and telling them who they are. If I had a chance to talk to LeBron, one of the first questions I'd ask him is, why don't you you're 6'8", 270 pounds. You should be more tough. You should look people in the eye. You should tell them what you feel. You should be too big for going on Twitter or whatever the hell you're going on and doing high school girly stuff with your little Twitter. 6'8", 270 pounds, 260, 250, whatever it is. You should be looking people down, looking down and telling people what's up. Cut out the cryptic garbage. What are you doing that for? And that's that. No one does that because he's LeBron James, right? No one does that. They'll do it from maybe afar. Maybe they'll do it on Twitter because they're cowards. I would do it to his face because I don't need anything from LeBron James. I don't need his money. I don't need his time. I don't need anybody's money. I don't need anybody's resource. I can get my own damn resources and my own money. So my ending to this is, and my involvement in it is I have been a Laker fan for 33 years. I've invested a major part of my life to this team. Life is short, folks, and I've spent a lot of my life watching the LA Lakers. So when there's a discrepancy there, yeah, maybe I'm a little more, verbal. Maybe I'm a little more aggressive there in this. And also, folks, just because I criticize someone doesn't mean I don't like them. I have family members that I love to death, that I'll kill for. When they screw up, do you think I'm sitting there going, well, let's try better next time? No. Especially if it's repeated. I'm like, what are you doing? Clean up your act. You sucked here. Do better.
And on that note,
by the way, for those of you who just came in here, sorry to interrupt, Gerald, but I got to say this because I'm seeing a lot of Defensive Player of the Year talk. Folks, if you were here a few weeks back, you would have gotten a really good show on our observation on who keeps voting for Defensive Player of the Year. Number one, LeBron got screwed out of the 2013 Defensive Player of the Year award. It was Marc Gasol who won that year. And by the way, Marc Gasol didn't even make first-team All-NBA that year, yet won the Defensive Player of the Year award. Not to downgrade Marc Gasol. I thought he did well, but LeBron should have won it that year. And as far as Kobe's concerned, don't get me started on Kobe. Kobe should have a Sixth Man of the Year award. He should have a Defensive Player of the Year award. And that guy should have 3 more MVPs. And you want to call me a Laker Kobe homer? That's on you. But let's be real.
I'm a Lakers fan, first and foremost. That's what I am. So
no one was better. Yeah.
I think that's what it should be all about. We're Lakers fans first and foremost. So
Kobe was the best player in 06, 08, 09, and 2010. And the results of those years prove it. So awards and all that. Duncan didn't win a Defensive Player of the Year. That was a tragedy. He probably should have won one in 03. He should have won one in 03. But voters that go to bed up in the Northeast and in Ohio, they go to bed. They don't pay attention to the guys out West. So they only pay attention to those guys that have, oh, look, he's got 12 rebounds and two blocks. Okay, let's vote for him.
Well, here we have it. 2 hours in. Another 2 hours we gave you. That's 6 hours in the past 2 days. Hopefully you've had a chance to enjoy it. Day 2 of NBA free agency. Again, this chat sometimes goes and takes a left turn because people get a little bit angry at each other. Come on, we're all Lakers fans, or even if you're not a Lakers fans, we're all NBA fans here in the chat. Just want to try and keep it civil. Whether you have an opinion on LeBron or we have an opinion on Kobe or either which way, again, we're just trying to go ahead and have good conversation here at the Lakers Fast Break. But Joe, great to have you here. Hopefully get you in the command center real soon. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
No.
7 Grand says number 55 pick is Daddy Daycare. For me, at 9 of the last 10 number 55 picks haven't made the league. All I'm saying is there a if there is a Trace Jackson Davis that comes out of this draft that's 57, 58, or undrafted that the Lakers could have drafted in the second round that didn't because they chose Bronny James over it, that won't make me a happy camper. 7 Grand. That's the only thing I say. That's the only thing I'll say on that. But I know Joe, it's with Joe, it's a little bit more.
Hey, I'm either going to be dead right or dead wrong. But
one way or the other.
no one seems to talk when I'm right, though. They just go to the next one and wait for me to be wrong on something. Well, actually, not everyone. Just those who have a.
I call you out when you're right.
Well, I don't need to be. I'm more talking about. I think some people don't understand that we watch these games. We're paying attention. We analyze. We're not just saying these things to create controversy. It's what's being shown to us, and we're just reiterating it.
And on that note, thanks again for joining us. Truly appreciate it. We're going to close it out. It's 2 hours on the dot. Appreciate you joining us again. We'll be back tomorrow to cover day 3. Our focus needs to be now on free agency. Would not be great, Richard, if that was the case, but according to Rob Pelinka so far, nothing as of yet. But maybe that will change. And maybe tomorrow night we'll be talking about the Lakers making some moves to make the team better. Let's hope that's the case, because right now they're the same team pretty much that they were at the end of the season outside of Dalton Connect and Bronny James. And I don't know if that really moves the needle that far, but we'll see. We'll see. Thanks again for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. Big crowd tonight. Again, please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we come back right at you here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.